Have you ever wondered why a person could kill other person, or even worse, they become addicted and be a serial killer to fulfill their own desire? This kind of act and thought should never exist in someone, because taking other people's life is an unacceptable thing. This act not only can make the families of the victim become traumatized, it also can haunt people who became the witness of the tragedy. Hi and welcome everyone. My name is Zahratul FAUZIYYAH BINTI SAIFUDIN, and I will go more deeper about my topic, which is Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer. People all around the world have been fascinated by the subject of serial killers throughout history, largely because they are unable to comprehend why someone would be ready to take not just one life but many. Many sociologists and criminologists have devoted their entire careers to studying those who prey on other people. As a result, there is never a lack of knowledge regarding what defines a serial killer, including their upbringing. There are three different types of individuals who kills multiple victims, which is first, mass murder, second, spree killer, and the last one is serial killers. And the best example to give for serial killer is Jeffrey Dahmer. Ladies and gentlemen, why he was labeled a serial killer? It is because, according to Federal Bureau of Investigation 2005, in the past, the threshold for being considered a serial killer has varied from 2 to 10 murders, each occurring in different places and separated by cooling off time murders. Jeffrey Dahmer was one male child who developed violent and aggressive traits as he grew up. Jeffrey Dahmer's upbringing was distinct from that of many serial killers, since he was raised in a family that on the surface seemed to be loving and normal. Interviews with Dahmer's family revealed that he was a happy young child who liked nature and animals, but they also described an unfathomable darkness that seeped into their young son, Dahmer. A Father's Story is the title of a book written by his father. In his book, he described the misery he went through while the best he could to raise a little kid while yet failing miserably to do the same for Jeffrey Dahmer. It is a portrayal of the terrifying fear that parents have when they realize their child has escaped their control and is lost. Jeffrey Dahmer may have unavoidably suffered psychological injury because of several family problems, according to Lionel Dahmer. As a child, Jeffrey Dahmer was exposed to a variety of potentially traumatic events. One of them was his double hernia operation when he was just 4 years old. Jeffrey Dahmer was scared that someone had severed his penis. Freudian psychology, according to Lionel Dahmer, would contend that this imagined castration may have been what motivated him to amputate the penises of his following victims. Jeffrey Dahmer frequently saw his mother using the anti-anxiety medication Equinil throughout his childhood. He also saw numerous verbal fights between his parents, which would eventually result in their divorce when he was 18, and both of his parents were more preoccupied with their own life and generally left him to fend for himself. Further investigation into Jeffrey Dahmer's parents' divorce also considers the potential that the mother experienced abandonment difficulties after learning that he could no longer speak to his mother and younger brother because of his parents' divorce. Dahmer may have felt isolated and abandoned due to a lack of communication with his mother and younger brother, as well as the fact that his father spent a lot of time working on his PhD at Iowa State University rather than at home to prevent family strife. So let me elaborate more about what had possibly caused Jeffrey Dahmer to become a serial killer. Based on my research on the internet, he always been abused and neglected during his childhood. There are many ways to correct a child's behavior, but none is nearly as contentious as physically hurting a child. Even when parents spank their misbehaving child, it can have a long-term psychological effects on the growth of a young child. Many parents spank their misbehaving child in a way that is more shocking than detrimental. Other than that, not giving full attention to the child also will make them feel unloved and unwanted. This act can mentally and physically abuse the child. This is what Jeffrey Dahmer felt during his childhood, which is being abused and neglected. Not only that, but he also got an exposure about the serial murder on the internet, and somehow he get inspired by them. There have been serial killers in the past. These people are frequently transformed into monsters or other creatures to better explain their behavior, such as vampires. But other times they are simply psychopaths who have infiltrated a society, going unnoticed and satiating needs that even they may not fully comprehend. Numerous research investigations indicate that these monsters or psychopathic people have abused others, witnessed violence between parents, or committed animal abuse and mutilation. A serial killer is defined as someone who has killed 3 or more persons they had never met before, with a cooling off interval in between each killing. This description leaves a lot to the imagination and occasionally exclude autocrats who direct mass murder, run death camps, supervise death marches. This is a critical problem that has complicated the study of serial killer. For example, Jeffrey Dahmer's victims were being drugged, beaten, raped, drilled on their skeleton just because he thinks that he can make them as zombies and more. To conclude this page, we can see that abuse and neglect to a child, or even have an exposure to the internet, can highly have possibility for that child to be a serial killer. For this case, Jeffrey's childhood seems to be hard because his parents didn't cooperate well to be a good parents or role model for their children, which is Dahmer. This act of abuse and neglect can lead them to feel left out and affect his mental health. Other than that, the child will set their mind that abuse and neglect is a normal thing in the society. The result of this mentality will make they practically do their parents' act in real life without feeling guilty. For the exposure about the serial killer on the internet, it can make that person have some thoughts and imagination about killing people. This kind of thought is a sign of people that is mentally ill. You must seek for help as fast as you can. As a lesson, all parents must cooperate well to achieve a healthy and harmonious family. That's all from me. Thank you.